Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host for tonight, Crenshaw. We got a special guest tonight, but before I introduce him, introduce my amazing trio. We got Mr. Bo Diggity. Say what's up to the folks.
Yo, what's good, y'all? What's happening?
All right. We got the man that's up there freezing his balls off paws in Kansas City. We got Mr. Matthew Briggs.
Bro, don't even remind me, man. Shivering.
Hey, man, respect to you, man. Respect to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have I'm gonna call him an OG because he's one of the original podcasts that I listened to when I first, started listening to the podcast and everything. He created a dope ass podcast, but now he has a dope ass golfing brand. We got Mr. James, YoungAri Gold in the motherfucking building.
Yo, and I was just first long time like this was like kind of it needed to happen again anyways because there were some strays that were caught that weren't meant for individuals here, but we're past that. I was told just now on Twitter that this is like Bad Boy Records and Death Row, just to give people an understanding of what's happening tonight. But man, it's great to be on here with you. Obviously, Crenshaw, you know where you are with me and Matt as well. Bo Diggity, I don't know you, but already at this point, you're with them, so it's just the way it is.
Already. So let's get off into NFL news.
Oh, there's a ton.
It's a ton. It's a ton. It's a ton of news. We got a whole bunch of coaching fires going on right here. A whole bunch of coaching fires. I'm gonna start off with you, James. Tell me the most shocking one to you.
Most shocking would be Pete Carroll, right? I think the Vrabel side of things. I know everybody they were kind of shocked and they were like they couldn't believe it. But to be honest with you, like after the amount of time he's been there, if you really look at like how things have gone, I honestly think it makes a lot of sense. I do think he's a good coach, but obviously with the new GM, there seems to be some kind of disconnect, and so that one wasn't as shocking. Pete Carroll was super shocking because Pete Carroll, what he's gone through over the last 3 years, and where he's been, right? I mean, he took the team to the playoffs last year, basically resurrected. Almost did it this year. Resurrected Gino's career, right? I mean, so it's interesting because it's like, why would you do it, right? Like you're not like no shade towards any of the coaches available, and you might find a better coach, but you're likely not going to.
So who you think should replace him or try to replace him?
Bobby's gonna get. Look, I said it in February, and I'll say it now. Bobby is going to be a very, very, very hot commodity, and Seattle's a very interesting choice. It'll all depend on like some of these GM hires, right? But as far as his best replacement, they got to go offense. Like we're seeing it all across the league. There's not a lot of D'Amico Ryans that come available on the defensive side of the ball, right? And for these teams that don't have quarterbacks, and unfortunately, I'm going to put Seattle in that category. I do like Gino, but I don't believe Gino is a top 10 quarterback in this league, right? And so you got to get an offensive guy in there if you're going to pair or if you're going to draft a rookie quarterback or sign a top tier quarterback, and you want to pair that offensive minded coach with a top tier rookie or a quarterback. So I would probably go with an offensive guy. Who that is, I don't know. I mean, Ben Johnson would be interesting. That's probably, if I'm Ben Johnson and I'm looking around at the openings, the safest place to go if you want to have a long leash at head coach is Seattle, right? All the rest, Carolina, as we know, they're not too far removed from being very Texan-esque a couple of years back, right? So that's not a spot that you want to go if you're Ben Johnson. The Commanders, they got new owners, so you don't really know what that show is going to look like. The Titans they're interesting, and it's all going to be dependent on like Will Levis and how does Ben Johnson view Will Levis. But I think Seattle's the best job available, and that's because San Diego's owners are just awful. They're just an awful owner group. They don't move the needle for me. You've seen what they do. I don't believe in them. So I would say Seattle's the best job, and I think Ben Johnson would take that role.
even though you got Justin Herbert, like that team's so much in cap hell, like you're gonna have to cut the whole team basically, just to build anything. So yeah,
Well, and then
I wouldn't go.
look what happened. I mean, what did Justin Herbert? What they do this year, right? Like, how much talent is there? And there's a ton of talent on that roster.
Ton of talent.
If we're being honest, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I would say Seattle's the best job, and I think Ben Johnson will go to Seattle.
Okay, Matt, tell me your most shocking firing.
The one that I'm kind of shocked is that the Bears kept their head coach. I thought he'd be gone. They're bringing in a new era, especially if they do move from Justin Fields. I don't think they would. I wouldn't if I was them. I'd give him at least one more year. He's on a rookie contract. But yeah, I'm surprised. And Bill Belichick, I'm surprised he hasn't left. I'm surprised they didn't do a move like what James did with Seattle and Pete Carroll, where they keep him around, but not the head coach no more. So I'm just surprised. Like the other ones, I'm not real surprised. I'm gonna beat Pete Carroll, but I don't want to follow James. But yeah, the other ones I'm not really shocked on.
Okay, Mr. Bo Diggity, talk to me.
Yeah, there really wasn't many shocking ones. Pete Carroll stepping down, that was the main, brow raiser. Like, why are you letting him go down? He didn't really do anything crazy. You really weren't expecting to go crazy this year anyway if you're Seattle. So what was the point of firing Pete? But to me, I feel like they're opening up the door for Dan Quinn. I know Ari said that, James said that, that you probably want a offensive coordinator because you're probably going to bring in a quarterback. So, you get an offensive coordinator, you can maybe step the quarterback in. And like you said, there's not that many D'Amico Ryans out there. I feel like the reason it works for CJ and D'Amico was a first-year head coach. So, he was learning as well as CJ was learning. And so he took, he kind of put like a more of a close eye view on the offense, even though he's a defensive coordinator at heart. So you really know how to deal with that. But I feel like with Dan Quinn's experience of being a head coach already, he's not going to babysit a quarterback. He's not going to bring a quarterback in or quarterback in, coach him up, make sure you keep him going, make sure you let him grow. I feel like if Dan Quinn is there, if he's having a problem, you put in Geno. Vice versa, if Geno ain't there, you got Drew Lock. If the quarterback, the rookie quarterback's having a problem, you put in Drew Lock. So it's like he's not gonna give him a chance to grow. So give him the offensive coordinator, let them come in together as a unit to build that camaraderie, and maybe you'll get the ball rolling in Seattle. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. There really weren't that many questionables. Like Mike Vrabel was left field, but it wasn't out of the people thought that he was going to leave. Yeah, people thought he was going to leave anyway. So that really wasn't crazy. Arthur Smith, he should have been gone. He should have been out of there. I don't think that wasn't crazy. Who else? Let me see. Rivera, he should have been gone. Like, it was firings that, like, this year you said about time. Why you wait? Yeah, it was about time firings, not why they fire him. So it's gonna be real interesting to see what happens.
I'm gonna put my little tinfoil hat on, and I'm gonna try and throw a conspiracy theory out there. I think the reason why Vrabel got fired on a Tuesday is because a lot of teams requested Bobby Slowick, and that whole Ron Cawthron and Bobby connection. I think everyone's like, we gotta get him out of there. So I think that's why they moved from him, because they didn't think, maybe we could wait a year. Bobby will be there in 1 year, so let's 1 year and let's see what Mike can do, and then we'll go after Bobby. And then they're like, Bobby's a hot commodity. Let's do this now. So I could be wrong, but
it was reported, right, that Mike was given 3 different options by Amy Adams, right, and it sounds like he chose none of them. So, it's very interesting what happened over there in Tennessee. But you're right, like that 49ers connection. Like, look, we've seen it throughout the entire league. Like that connection matters, especially when it starts at the top at that GM level. So, where was Dan Quinn the head coach before? Atlanta, right?
Yes, Atlanta. Yep.
I don't understand why anybody would want to hire. Like, how many times have we seen this where the retread coach goes back, gets another shot? I mean, we just saw it. What was it this year with Josh McDaniels?
We saw with Frank Wright.
Has it ever worked?
Yep.
Honestly, has it ever worked?
Nope.
It's not working in Denver. Like,
nope.
Like where has it worked?
Yeah, just start.
I mean, you could say Jacksonville, but as
Doug Peterson.
Samantha Gwinnett knows, I mean, it's not working either. I was about to say
I'm about to say,
Hasn't worked. I mean, you
it
got
looks
a franchise
promising.
generational QB, and you just lost the last 5 games. Like, you know, it ain't worked.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, that also goes to the right offensive coordinator, right? Because like when Mike Shanahan left to go to not Mike, but his son went to San Francisco.
Yeah, San Fran.
It fell apart, you know. So I think if Dan Quinn does get the right offensive coordinator, but that's the problem. Like if he gets the right one and he's gone, it's going to happen again. It's going to fall apart. So it's hard to keep the same. We're seeing the same thing in Philly. Their offensive and defensive coordinators, they're not the same. You know what I mean? It's falling apart.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess I want to say, you know, basically Pete Carroll is my most shocking, but I think more shocking is what happened in college with Nick Saban. And the only reason why I'm bringing up Nick Saban because he has some Houston ties because he used to be the All-Us defensive back coach. So briefly, fellas, tell me, what does this mean for Alabama that Nick Saban is no longer with us? And James, I'm gonna start with you.
Crenshaw, is your wife in the comments? Is that who that is? Is that Samantha? Is Samantha the one that keeps? She likes you, bro. She likes you. So what was the question? I'm sorry, I had that already in my head.
Oh man, I was saying, what does Nick Saban leaving Alabama mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's a change in the guard, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with NIL, right? Like we've seen a lot of changes in college football over the last 2 years. He's been very opinionated, as he always has been, on changes and things he doesn't like, and he definitely didn't like the NIL stuff. I think he probably lost a lot of control, and not like when I see Nick Saban and I hear him speak, and we hear players talk about him. Control is something that he's always really liked, right? He's a Bill Belichick guy. They're the same type of coach. And I think when the NIL came, it complicated things and kind of took things away from him that he couldn't control to the level that he has. And I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, isn't it strange that like that's happening while also Bill Belichick's future is up in the air? Like the two guys who have like the closest relationship, they're potentially ending their careers at the same time. Like that is a very, very strange, yet is it coincidental? Like that's the strange part. Like, is New England about to take Nick, Vrabel, McDaniels? Are they going to try to really redo this entire Patriots thing and do it the right way, since they haven't done it the right way over the last 4 years? Like, I'm not saying that's happening, but like it's right. Too coincidental for me to think that this is all happening for no reason.
Well, Nick was on the radio today. He said that the reports was bullshit. So we gonna see.
What? Who?
Yeah, it was on 610 today.
Oh, you're talking about Casera? Yeah, I'm not talking about Casera. Casera.
Oh, you're talking about Saban.
I'm talking about Saban.
Oh, Saban. Oh, okay. You say Nick. My bad.
Yeah. No, it's crazy because like I thought about today, like when they showed that he won 6 with Alabama, and then you see Bill Belichick won 6 with the Patriots, and you like, y'all both retired at the same time. What's going on? Y'all y'all finna go sit up in the sunset together. Y'all got another team. Y'all finna go coach. Like what's happening here? But it's when I hear Nick Saban leaving Alabama, I hear balance. I hear balance to the college football finally. I mean, of course, we saw it coming with Georgia taking over the ranks, but I feel like it's more like NIL. Some coaches don't like it. Coaches don't like it. They feel like it's not right. They you got your old school coaches who just straight up want to just go recruit a kid, bring him to college, but not that money talk. So whereas back in 2011, you could get the kid over there to say, hey, we're gonna win championships at Alabama, come over here. But now 2024, the kid's looking like, how much money you got? How much money you gonna spend? Yeah, you say I'm winning the championship, but this school here said I get an NIL deal for $1 million right out the pocket. I'm finna go over there, feed my family. So with the whole NIL deal, coaches are not really vibing with it. So I feel like it was a matter of time for Nick Saban to just finally just go ahead and chill. I believe Kirby Smart, the Georgia been beating that butt for a while too. So he like, I'm tired of this. I used to run the SEC. Now the SEC finna run me out of here. So hey, he had a great career with Alabama. He dominated for a very long time. I feel like there's like it should be nothing like regret for him I mean, what more can you do in college? So amazing career, amazing coaching career for Alabama. So good job, Saban. Go on
Yeah, also the transfer portal I think plays a big part in that too.
Yep,
Like
that too.
Guys can just flip flop on the drop of a hat. Like, all right, man, I'm cool. I'm out of here. And it's just hard to keep doing what, like everybody says, Saban's building a dynasty. It's hard to do that when players like, nah, man, I'm out. I'm gonna go over here and make $5 million. So I think that he's just like, you know what, the game's changing for me too much, so I'm out. And hopefully, I mean, James might be right. They might be starting a super team with all former Patriots. Who knows? Maybe they go to the UFL and dominate that now. I don't know.
All right. So, all right. Let's jump into the playoff picture this weekend. Matt, since you were still talking, tell me what's the most intriguing matchup this weekend besides the Texans?
Easy, man. Right? Jared Goff versus Matt Stafford.
Oh, I think he was going that way.
X team, like, bro. I mean, it's the Lions' first playoff game and since 1995. I mean, home playoff game since 1995 or something like that. So, like, dude, it's just I love to see it. I'm tired of seeing the same team in there every year. So a little mix up is always nice. But yeah, I gotta go with the Lions versus the Rams. The whole trade is working for both teams, so you gotta like it.
Well, speaking of same teams, this is the first time we ain't seen the same two guys, or at least one of these guys in the playoffs, and that's Brady or Peyton Manning the last 25 years. So finally that shit got broke. So James, I'm gonna kick it over to you. Give me the most intriguing playoff matchup this weekend.
Yeah, you didn't say I couldn't pick Browns Texans, but you did say that for Matt. Does that rule still apply for me?
Yes, still, because besides the Texans.
Okay, all right. If that's the case, then probably the Chiefs Dolphins.
I thought that's what Matt was going to say.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to say Chiefs and Dolphins.
There's a lot of different reasons. There's one, like, obviously the weather, right? It's supposed to be 0 degrees, which it's supposed to be the coldest game in the history of the NFL. That sucks for the players. But also, huh?
And the fans that are going to be there.
Yeah, and the fans are wild. But that's crazy. But then, like, if you think about it, like from the Dolphins' perspective and the Chiefs' perspective, right? Chiefs had a down year. They were not the same team that we've grown to expect from a performance perspective, and they're definitely down in a way that we haven't seen in the past 6 years. So that's an interesting storyline. The Dolphins, every time you think that they're potentially a competitor, they show you that they're not. So it's like, what can you, like, who's gonna triumph, right? Like, who? And honestly, I believe it's gonna be the Chiefs because they have the playoff experience. They have a good defense, especially thinking about like who the weapons are, right? They know Tyreek. They know where he thrives, and I just think that's going to be really interesting. It also gives Miami the opportunity to really like make a statement, right? If you go into KC and you destroy KC in wild card round, like now all of a sudden you have momentum going into whoever you play that following week in the divisional round. So I think that's going to be a really good matchup.
Okay, Bo, talk to me.
Yeah. Before I give my pick, I just want to say I am just laughing just inside because them Chiefs receivers can't catch in regular weather. I can't wait to see them in inclement, cold, freezing weather, and they can't catch when it's warm outside. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. Just seeing Pat Mahomes try to throw the ball to them will be amazing. But that's not my game. My game, which I feel like I'm gonna put an asterisk by it, but I feel like it has a lot of story into it. It's easy, but I'm gonna say the Cowboys versus Packers. This is the one time I wish Aaron Rodgers was still on the Packers because just to go back from the whole Dez Bryant didn't catch it, and then how Aaron Rodgers broke their hearts in Texas 2 when he threw that pass and then kicked that field goal. Like, I feel like this is going to be a great game as far as story mode about how I'm sure Dallas is going to beat them. But I feel like intriguing wise, I know I know that Dallas Cowboys fans are burning inside. They ready for a revenge game. So if I can't pick my Texans versus Browns game, I feel like that's what that because of that story and the history between the Packers and the Cowboys, I'm picking that game.
Sounds good. I mean, that's the game I would have picked as well. But I guess I could say Monday Night Football is an intriguing game. I don't know what's going on with the Eagles. I think the Bucks
Yes.
is really going to upset them at home, and Eagles going to show that they really lost a lot when they lost the offensive coordinator, Shane. So, anyways, we're going to jump into Texans news. Let's kick it off. All right, Texans news. So Texans won a 7 division title in 13 years. And even though we had down years, we still own that division. So, James, be honest with me. Did you think Tennessee was going to pull that game off on Sunday?
I did. I'm not sure why. It wasn't like some kind of like expert opinion or anything like that. It wasn't like I was looking at the scheme and like I knew they were going to win. It was really more of just like a gut feeling. Everything's just lined up for the Texans this year. If we're just being honest, right? Everything's broke our way outside of injuries. We got the head coach hire right. We got the draft right. We got the quarterback. We got, there was too many positives to believe that this negative would impact this team. And I mean, and also like the Jags are just a phony ass team, right? Like they have been a phony ass team since they've come into the league, right? They tried that cool nickname of Saxonville. That lasted a season. Like they have never gotten it right. And they're never going to get it right. Like if you just look at the league historically, the teams that are trash for a long, long time are trash still, right? This Browns team, look, the history and data tells us this Browns team is trash. They're probably riding the highest positive momentum that they've ever had right now, and Joe Flacco's their quarterback. And I'm not dogging Flacco, right? Like he's played extremely well, but like they're going to be trash again. We've seen what's going on with Deshaun. Like there's just so many different things happening. That team's going to fall off a cliff again. That's what happens in the NFL. And we just saw it with the Jags. And there's no reason to be surprised by it because that's just who they've always been.
Trash. So, Bo, when you woke up Sunday morning,
yes,
ate your breakfast and everything, did some TikToks and everything. Did you think Tennessee was going to beat Jacksonville?
You know what? Honest to God, man, I did. And this is why I'm gonna say this, man. Like back in the day, I guess just in NFL history, like when you see certain teams, like man, everything going right for that team. That team can make a comeback. That team is just gonna work for them regardless. And that's how I felt on Saturday watching the Texans versus Colts. When he threw that 75-yard pass to Nico Collins and he called it on the first play, I said, finally, things going right for my team. Finally, the stories are being written for my team in the good light. And so when the Titans and Jaguars game, I just knew the Jags was gonna crumble. I knew it. I knew the pressure on the Jags was gonna make them crumble, especially when the Steelers won too. Because now you have to win. You have to win that game. It don't matter if you lose or not. You have to win this game to get in the playoffs. And they don't work well under pressure. That's just history. The Jags do not perform well under pressure. So watch that game. I said, "Come on, Titans, man, y'all can do this. Y'all got this. Y'all got this." And it was going good. First, I was like, "Well, Titans gave up that touchdown," but then it just start domino effecting. I was like, "Oh yeah, they about to lose this game." So yeah, man, I honestly felt like the Titans was going to win. I don't know why. Just something in my gut feeling told me everything's going to be all right. The Titans going to win this game, and y'all going to be division champs. So
okay. So Matt, when Jacksonville was 8-3. They said, "Come get your playoff tickets and everything." Did you see them going 1-5 down the stretch and missing the playoffs?
I mean, I didn't see them going 1-5. I did see them when was it 4 weeks ago when we were still tied when everybody lost that game when we lost to the Jets and they lost to whoever, and we could still be in the division. I was like, bro, I don't think the Jaguars are going to win it this year. I really think it's going to be between maybe the Texans or the Colts. I mean, who thought that? Nobody thought that. Like if somebody said, "Hey, the Colts, Texans, and Jags are going to be fighting for first place come week 17," nobody or week 18, nobody could say, "Yeah, I had it on my bingo card." Absolutely not. It's crazy, especially 8 like you said, Crenshaw, 8-3.
8-3.
The hottest start in franchise history, 6-2, and all of a sudden you go 1-5, like bro, and then you fire the guy, the bright spot of your whole team, the defense, and you keep the offensive coordinator who completely stunk it up. Like, bro, James is right. Jags is going to Jags, bro. Like you're not doing anything to fix it. You're going to be the same thing you have been. Like it makes no sense to me. But hey. If that benefits the Texans, so be it. You keep being trash. I'm good, okay with it.
Yep, and also I believe the Jags, they rush Trevor Lawrence back. There's no way he was supposed to come back that fast.
That's
after
when
that
I
so-called
knew
not concussion that he had. So
right.
I said,
That's
y'all messed
knew,
up yourselves.
That's when I knew the Titans were going to lose when they started Trevor Lawrence over CJ Beathard. I think if Case Keenum can beat the Titans, I think CJ Beathard or Beathard, however you say his name, could
had a shot.
beat the Titans. Yes, there's Trevor. You're right. Trevor, he wasn't ready. You can see in some of those throws, he just couldn't get it to him. His shoulder was still out. Like I think they had a better chance if they started the backup.
Because there's no way he misses Cavalli on that pass. There's no way. If he's right as rain, there's no way he's missing that Cavalli touchdown pass.
Yeah. Well, okay. So last Saturday we had a late night special recap. But James, we didn't get your take. First, let us know where you was at watching the game, and second, tell us about the game. What did you like and what did you didn't like?
Yeah, I linked with a bunch of people on Texans Twitter here in Austin, and we went out to a bar and watched the game. Obviously you like the opening play, right? I don't know if you can better script that. To be honest with you, it's about as good as it gets. The team did enough to win that game. I'll be honest, I didn't walk away from that game feeling very good about going into the playoffs because Jonathan Taylor ran all over us. And I'm really tired of the inconsistencies on defense that we've seen week in and week out of this team. I do understand injuries. I totally understand that. But, without Grenard on the edge, especially when you look at these Jonathan Taylor runs, it was a big piece, right? I mean, they were, it was counters, stretches, everything was happening on the outside. Not a lot of in between tackle stuff, but so you wonder if that'll clean up, right, once Grenard gets back. But we've just seen too many times where they can shut down the run, right, which they did with Derrick Henry, and then you see games like this, and it doesn't really give you a lot of confidence thinking like going into the playoffs. There's a lot to be proud of outside of just being here, right? And I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of just being here. I don't want to make the playoff. I don't want to be one of the teams that makes the playoffs and we're happy we're here. I want to be one of the teams that we make the playoffs and it's because we're ready to take that next step and continue down and win the next 4 games. Can the team win the next 4 games? Obviously, right? Like we've seen it too many times in this league where a team gets in, they get hot at the right time, and they ride it out. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll say this, Nico, I've been a fan of Nico since he was drafted. I think I've been one of the only ones that has continued to beat the drum of Nico consistently while he's been injured. If you go back, I constantly talk about him. I've said he's our true number 1. He just needs to stay healthy. He's too big. He's too good of a route runner, and he just knows how to use his hands, and he's just so physical, right? So I thought this was a great Nico game for everybody outside of Houston to see, right? Nico was literally that man on Saturday night, and we needed it. We needed it big time. Bobby with, some of his play calling. Look, I love Bobby. I do think he's a great OC, but his feel for the game at times that's my only issue with him. I think schematically he's probably up there with like the Mike McDaniels, and he knows how to do it. But his play calling and his feel for when to call the plays, they're always out of sync. They're never at the right time, right? And that is that when you don't do that in the when you do that in the playoffs, you tend to fail because those teams are ready. Everybody in the playoffs is a good team. That's just the way it is. And there are a lot of teams, like if we remember when Deshaun made the playoffs the first time, and we went into, or Indy came into NRG, nobody expected that game to go the way that it did.
No, we
Nobody.
didn't score to the fourth quarter.
Terrible.
But it did, because that's how it goes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The difference is CJ is going to be, I believe CJ is different, right? I truly do. We could talk about, you could make all your puns and jokes about Deshaun Watson, however you want to phrase it. But from a football perspective alone, CJ is a dog. And CJ is going to, you could see it in his eyes Saturday night. The way he was looking, I mean, the guy, he was tuned in, and it wasn't going to change. And you could see it in that first play. He took a nasty hit, but he delivered that ball exactly where Nico needed it to be. So, it was a fun game to watch, obviously, for not having anything to celebrate over the last 3 years. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, I walked away from that game super confident that this team is ready to continue to compete in the playoffs. I need to see more consistency on defense, and I need Bobby to clean up his feelings when it comes to calling the plays, getting his feelings right, to be able to know when and when not to do things.
Okay, so you say they ran all over us, but on the last 16 carries, one allowed 27 yards. What do you think changed then that we wasn't doing before?
Well, so based on what I watched again, there was two things. One, we tightened up on defense for sure. Like we were very strict on our gaps. So we played that right. We were a little bit more aggressive on the outside. They didn't run a lot outside after that. A lot of it was in between tackles. Looks like they were trying to control the momentum of the game, control the clock. I think they thought that was going to be on their side. Based on what they saw in the first half, they assumed they were going to be able to run all the way down us again, and they weren't, right? So I would say some of it was Steichen, some of it was D'Amico, but at the end of the day, Crenshaw, when you give up that many yards, I would love to know how many times a team has won a game giving up that many yards on the ground, because I would assume it's a very, very few amount.
Yeah, that's what I said Saturday. I said if you didn't tell me the score of the teams and you told me the stats, I would think the Colts won 23-19 just by.
Oh, didn't they also win time of possession by a lot as well?
Yeah.
I believe so. Especially in the third quarter, I feel like they really, took over. Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, Crenshaw. I mean, they tightened up, and that was the whole thing. Like, I expect them to be able to do that, but in the playoffs, you can't wait to tighten up.
Yes.
You can't wait to make your adjustments.
Exactly.
You have to make your adjustments series by series
on the fly.
And if not, you end up in a position where you're not coming back.
Okay, so all right. So last question on this game right here. On that last play that Goodson dropped. First, was it a bad pass? Second, why was he in the game?
Well, okay, so from a schematic perspective, we think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Jonathan Taylor's in, where's the ball going?
Jonathan Taylor.
So automatically, when you have Taylor out of the game, it gives you a little bit more flexibility in your creative play calling, right? And it was a beautiful play call. Like,
amazing. He was wide open.
Honest. That play call was pure luck that we won that game.
I think my heart stopped when I saw that play.
When I saw him out of the backfield, I literally looked at my buddy. I said, "Oh shit!" And then before I looked back, he already dropped it. But so it was a bad throw. Should he have made the catch? Potentially. But the man is backpedaling and turning, and having to extend while also at the same time ensuring he knows where he's at.
Yeah.
When he catches that ball,
and I know who's coming to hit him exactly.
And make a move to get the first down.
Yeah.
So I think you're asking a lot for a guy to be able to do that. It should have been a much better ball, and it wasn't. And look, I'll be honest. You guys all know, I'm pretty sure all of you know, Anthony Richardson is coming.
Yes.
He is coming. And this team did what they did without him. And I understand that he is not a perfect player. I truly know that. but he is a much better player than Gardner Minshew. And on that 4th and 2, what do you think that play
He's
looked
running.
like?
He's
that'd have been
running
a
it.
quarterback sneak right
Yeah,
there.
he's running
Right,
it.
that's
Yeah,
what I
he's
mean,
running it.
right? So, and there were so many different elements that could have been added to that game with just AR being in the game. Take away his bad throws. You can say whatever you want about his mechanics, but if they're running for 227 or whatever they ran for with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, imagine what that looks like with AR in there, because now you're having to account for him as well. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what the Colts and Texans do over the next 10 years. Honestly, like this is very much going to be Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady-esque type of stuff. I really do believe that. I think this is going to be the division. I'm not worried about Trevor. I'm not worried about the Glitter Kitties. It's really just AR and CJ, and they're going to go head-to-head every single year, and it's going to be amazing football for a very long time, as long as AR can stay healthy. I know everybody probably wishes he wouldn't, but I want to watch great football, and I think it'd be fun to watch that.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we know what we know what we need to do in the free agency and the draft. We got to get that defensive line right, like we did with Peyton Manning. What you about to say, Matt?
I would say before we got D'Amico, if we had Shane Steichen, I wanted AR in the draft. Those two together is a match made in heaven. Like,
Let me ask you guys this.
hell out of me.
You guys have been asking all the questions. I want to ask one question.
Go ahead.
Right now, you had a chance to redo 2023 coaching hires. Take the emotions out and take the fanness out, but keep the drafts the same. Would you rather have D'Amico as your head coach or Shane Steichen?
Well, I go first. I already have Shane.
Yeah,
because it's an offensive league,
right?
And the defense they'll catch up. So give me Shane all day.
Yeah.
So do I know what staff they're getting, or
you're keeping the same draft? It's the same draft.
No, the staff. They say the same staff.
Well, no, I mean obviously,
you don't get Bobby if you take Shane. You don't get Bobby.
Yeah, you can't have Bobby and Shane, bro. Come on.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if I knew,
let's swap coaching staffs. You have the Indy coaching staff,
right?
And Indy has the Texans coaching staff,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like if I knew that D'Amico was going to bring Bobby, then I still say yeah, I'm rocking with Bobby with D'Amico just because of his defensive presence. But man, I do love me some Shane Steichen.
What about you, Bo?
Give me Iguodala. Nah, just playing. Nah, man, it's hard for me to take away the emotion out of it, man. I just love D'Amico, man. I just love the way he commanded the troops, bro. I felt like Steichen, even though the offensive mind is there, I don't think he has a grasp of the team like a D'Amico can. You know, D'Amico is a leader of men. D'Amico is a former player. They can go to him and ask him any questions, and he can answer for them. So players are going to feel comfortable around him.
And a culture builder, right?
Yeah. So I feel like it just works. I feel like it wouldn't work with Shane in Houston. I don't know why. I just feel like it just works better with D'Amico. He is the triangle piece in the triangle square in peg. You know, it fits.
That
so
makes
I feel like D'Amico anywhere else doesn't get what we have here in Houston.
Also,
I think the recipe for what Houston needed at the time
was just perfect.
Was a lot more than a scheme.
It's just any coach. Defense. I agree. That's why. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No. That's why everyone was so upset when they was talking about Josh McCown. Like, we don't want Josh McCown. What would you mean bring Josh McCown in here?
Yeah.
So when everyone heard D'Amico, I mean, the coaches just flew up in the air. It just went to a 10 over 10. So I don't think Shane does that.
Yeah. I think the only thing that tips in the favor of Shane for me is what we're seeing right now with the interviews of Bobby is you're going to have a consistent offense. Right. And that's not going to change.
That's true.
Right?
That is true.
So if you think about it from our perspective now, let's say Bobby leaves and Gerard Johnson gets promoted. Well, let's say Gerard Johnson is on the same track as Bobby, and then you're going to end up having these moves. Yeah. You're always going to be losing, and you're not going to hit every time, right?
Right.
You're not going to hit every time. And if I'm thinking about
look at that KC, I mean, after Eric Bieniemy left, I mean, you say,
right.
That's right. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and if you think about it from like a franchise quarterback, the goal is to have them for 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Right. So what is your best option to be able to do that and set them up for success? And that's pairing them with the right
Offensive head coach. You're right. Yeah.
So,
right.
to me, it's like there's a ton of emotion. And I think D'Amico is a great coach. Like, I want to make it very, very fucking clear. Like, he is a great coach. He is exactly what this team needed. He's exactly what the city needed.
And that's what I mean.
It's just interesting when you look at it from all these different angles.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Crenshaw. I think I would take the emotion out and I'd go Shane as well. Look at what he did for that team. I mean, they were competing in week 18.
Yeah.
They must have bought into him, Bo. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right.
And let me say this as well, because on the podcast, words could get turned around. I love D'Amico as well. I was at the press conference. I was there. I was cheering. Blah 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 blah. But I'm looking at Shane the way I look at Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan, he lose guys night and day, and that offense is still good.
Yeah.
And Shane with CJ,
I see that.
Yeah, Shane with CJ, who fucking was.
But I also, like Bo and James are saying, like, only way I would take Shane over D'Amico is if the last 3 years of Houston didn't happen. If the DW4 shit didn't happen. Like if
the revolving coaching door didn't happen. Yeah.
Well, not just that, just the complete, the whole culture shift. Bill O'Brien blowing everything up. Just the whole everything being down. I say yes, go with Shane. But since DW4 fucked us, Bill O'Brien fucked us. We don't know who's going to be the next head coach year after year after year.
Yeah.
Bringing D'Amico was the right choice. Like James said, the city of Houston, the culture, like Bo said, it brought the resurgence of fans. That's the only reason why you bring D'Amico. Because of the feelings. That's the reason why you bring. I think the feelings is the reason why you bring D'Amico here. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, I would take either one. Right, is a home run. Like either D'Amico or Shane Steichen is a home run for your franchise.
But fans would have been their feelings. But once we start winning games, that's true.
Winning fixes it.
So winning fixes it all. But all right, we spent enough time on that right there. Let's get off into this Browns preview here. All right, Texans take on the Browns at NRG. We have our traditional first fucking playoff time every damn year at 3:30. We always play at 3:30.
I hate it.
So I'm gonna kick it off with you, James. Tell me the keys to victory this weekend.
Pass rush. We really need that pass rush.
Thank you.
Against the Titans. We have, I didn't know this, but we have the most sacks in franchise history this season.
46.
Which honestly,
it was quiet to me.
It was super quiet, and it really bothers me that this team got that over the JD Watt Mert team. That and DJ Reader, right? Like that line was, and we weren't able to do it, right? Yep. So it's crazy to think about, but I mean, we need to see it, and we need to see it consistently. I need Grenard back. I do think Grenard is a game changer for this week specifically. You have to get after Flacco. A lot of it, and I'm really hoping that we see this from D'Amico this week, is a lot of interior pressure created by blitzes if necessary. You need to be able to force Joe to be able to not step up in the pocket. I need interior pressure from the middle consistently. I also need to see a lot more man coverage from these corners.
Amen.
I do not want to see a lot of zone. Trust 24, trust 21, trust 25. Line them up. Let them play man. Let them press. Let them get physical off the line. That's going to buy your defensive line time to be able to rush the quarterback, knock them off rhythm. They're going to get a couple. It's just the way it is. But that's the only way that we can beat this Browns team, is by doing those two things. I'm not worried too much about the offense. I think the offense will be okay. I think they'll do enough. This is the best defense in the league. But see, we haven't seen that this year. Derek has been on one side.
Yeah.
He has not shadowed. Not one time. That's going to have to change. It's lockdown Coop, so Dez locked down Elijah Moore, and Steven Nelson, whoever their other wide receiver is, lock them down. We're going to have to do something with Njoku because and those the safety's going to have to come down.
They're going to have to come down to help.
He's going to have to come down and cover. Like there's just what I want to see, and I think this is the only way we win, is a very creative defensive plan. Yeah. And we haven't seen a lot of that this year. But we've seen D'Amico do it in San Francisco. And I know we don't have those same players, but that's the type of plan we need to see if we want to have a chance at winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cleveland, they play a lot of man. I think they
play the second most in the league, right?
Yeah, something like that. So last time we played Joe Flacco in the playoffs, what did he win? 14 for 27, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. So we need to get our lick back from 2011 when the Jacoby Jones fumbled the ball for the younger crowd that don't remember that game right there. Then get our lick back. So Bo, tell me what we need to do on offense to beat this Cleveland team.
For me, it's very simple. O-line, block. Okay? Pass, block, communicate. Don't let them get a free run to CJ. I'm so sick of seeing that. I'm so sick of seeing safeties and cornerbacks come out free and having a running start at CJ. I'm tired of it. I need Bobby or whoever is running the offensive line to let them know to communicate, find the hot blitzes, see who's coming, see who's not coming. Tell him if he's going to stunt, you have him, I have him. That's all I want to see. I need to see the offensive line block, give CJ time to throw the ball, go through his reads, find the open receiver, and we can win this game. But if he's constantly having to fall down and avoid sacks and run for his life, and it's gonna be a long day, man. It's gonna be a long day.
Long day. I agree. So Matt, so you got James, you got Bo, what they had to say about the game. Tell me, what do you think in your heart is going to happen? Don't talk to me as a fan. Talk to me as Matt.
Honestly, yeah, we got creamed by the Browns, but there was one main reason why we got creamed.
Cash for everything around me.
Pause that. But that's we didn't have CJ Stroud or Nico Collins, so I think having those two is going to be a lot closer game. Is it going to be Texans win hand down? No, it's not. It's going to be a hard fought battle. And like James said, D'Amico needs to change things up, and so does Bobby. Like against I know what James was talking about when he was talking about the Colts recap. We need to quit being conservative. Like there's times we need to be conservative, and there's times to put your foot on the gas. In the playoffs, it's gas all day. Do not take your foot off. Put your foot on the net and break it. Like this whole close game, you can't have it because we know Joe Flacco in the playoffs. The dude he can by his numbers alone can get him in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he's gonna make it. I'm just saying his numbers alone is Hall of Fame worthy numbers. The dude is a beast when it comes playoffs. So you got, like James said, you got to disrupt him. You got to send some blitzes. You got to lock down Cooper. You can't have Cooper go everywhere.
He better not have a career game. He better have a career playoff. Yeah, I better not see at the bottom career record Amari Cooper. I don't want to see that defense. I don't.
And then you can't. Nico Collins is probably going to be your only receiver. Robert Woods, we don't know what's with him.
I don't think Brown playing either. Yeah,
Brown's definitely not going to play. And you can't trust Mechie and Hutch in this type of game. So you got to be creative. You got to do a lot of tight end screens.
Yep.
You got to do a lot of wide receiver bubbles. Like you got to get creative on offense. My thing is, give it to Singletary. You got to get that run and do what you did first play of the game. I'm tired of last time we played the Browns. That happened to us. First game of the play, Cooper went down deep and scored a touchdown. We got to do that just like we did in Indianapolis. We got to open up big plays, give it down the ball. We can't be conservative. We got no stop, no gas, no brakes, all gas. Keep it going.
Here's the thing too: if they lose that way, I'll feel 10 times better. I'll feel 10 times better about the loss than losing by a field goal from a very conservative defensive scheme, right? Like, I'm okay if you leave your balls on the field and you just go as hard as you can,
Go all out.
and that's it. If you win, fantastic. If you lose, sucks. First year was great. Now you know, where do we need to add our players? Let's keep it pushing. But I don't want to play this conservative style of defense. It's not what we've seen from D'Amico in San Francisco, and it's all we've seen since he's been here in Houston, and I need that to change.
Yes, I agree, because I feel like Bobby and D'Amico, well, whoever calls defensive players, I think it's D'Amico. But when it gets to a certain point, even Bobby, like if the lead is up, we have a lead, then he'll get conservative, or he'll try to be too cute to try some trick plays. Now for D'Amico, if you got the lead, he gets really conservative. He gets so safe, it's crazy. I'm like, why are the cornerbacks 10 yards off the ball? Please press them at least a couple plays on defense, because you're giving them easy outs, easy comeback, easy zigs. We have to put pressure on the offense. We cannot let Flacco be comfortable on the sideline, sleeping on the sideline because he's bored. We need him to be. I'm seeing ghosts. I'm so sick of seeing Will Anderson Jr. I'm so sick of seeing Grenard. What is that? What do you got on? Michael Jordan cologne? I'm tired of smelling that Michael Jordan cologne. I don't want to smell it no more. That's how I need Joe Flacco to be. Please block these people, because they get me off my spot, and then we can win this game. Come on, defense.
That's just with the Colts game. We jump up 14-3, and we're like, okay, cool. Let's bend and not break. And they
start getting soft. They start getting soft.
Yes, they let them score 3 points going into the half, and then offense again gets conservative. We kick the ball next, and Jonathan Taylor runs a big one, and it's a tie ball game. Like we can't do that. Like James said earlier, the playoffs are a different monster. It's a different breed. Like it's time to show up. It's time to play big boy football.
And maybe D'Amico's playing the whole time, right? Like maybe it was let me get here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do what we need to do. Let me build a foundation. Okay, guys, some of the stuff we've been working on, it's time. Yeah, and we got to really get things going. We're going to try new things.
He was saving it. He was saving his playoff.
I don't want to say he was saving. I think he was more building it up, right? Like
got you.
One of the things that I think is like, and I think we saw it with Bobby pretty early on, is like, if you guys remember the first 4 games of the season, everybody was calling for Bobby's head.
Yep.
Right.
Everybody. Right. Why are you forcing the run? Like there were so many questions. And then I believe Bobby opened the playbook up a little bit. And I think CJ, and I think what the plan was to ease CJ into this playbook. All right, we're going to give you a couple here. We're going to try to run heavy. All right, as you continue to progress, we're going to start peeling back another page and another page and another page. And I think he got to a point where he just became super comfortable with the offense. And now we're starting to see more. And I think there's still more that Bobby can tap into. I need to see that from D'Amico this weekend, because it's cool to be here. Like I said earlier, it's real cool to be here, right?
Yeah.
But it don't matter if you don't win. It don't matter if you don't show up. Like, don't give us all that dope PR stuff from the Texans admins about we punched our ticket, we're 0-0. It's been a long 3 years.
Yeah.
That's not enough anymore. You want the stadium packed, like you guys keep saying, then show that same emotion when you guys are on the field, and show it with your game plan.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're right too. I think D'Amico is kind of doing the same thing Bobby did. Because look at the Bengals game, right? Like he did do a little. He started blitzing, throw Joe Burrow off his rhythm, right? He started getting at the core. Well, Joe Burrow had sacked 7 times that game. Like we sacked him a crazy amount of time. So I think you're right. I think he is, open up a new style playbook. But same thing in the Bengals game. All right, we took that big lead. Let's dial back. You can't dial back this game though.
Yep.
You gotta keep it full speed ahead. You can't let go.
And it's been too many times where the Texans are in the wild card and they just start so slow. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see them come out flat. I've seen that too many times. I've seen it against the Chiefs that 1 year. I've seen it against the Colts that 1 year. Again against the Colts that 1 year. Then again against the Bills. Even though you came back and won that game. The first quarter, it was dead, man. It was so flat. I don't want to see that. I want to see them ready to go out there, make plays early in the game. If it's 0-0 to the fourth quarter, that's fine. But it better not be 21-0. Browns up. I want to see that. I want to see us having to fight back in the fourth quarter. Keep it close and win the game, or blow them out. I don't want to see no claws scratching back in the fourth quarter. I don't want to see that.
Okay. Well, in the playoffs, Joe Flacco, he's 10-5, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's fucking good in the playoffs, guys. Fucking good in the playoffs. But I like what James said. We need a man up on these guys. Like I say, I think Grenard's going to play. He was out there at practice. He was limited. Will, he's still a little injured, but we need all those guys to get to the Joe this game. Last game, we didn't even much touch him. He had so much time back there that was eating us alive. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was a little happy that Cooper went off because he got me to my fantasy Super Bowl.
Terrible.
But other than that, we can let that shit happen again. You know what I'm saying? Can let that shit happen again. So on that note, we're gonna go to game predictions. James, give me your game predictions this Saturday. Texans, Browns. Who you got?
I got Texans 27-14.
27-14. Okay. Bo, give me the score.
Okay, let's go, man. I got Texans. Man, Texans 16, Browns 7.
So it's gonna be like that game that we had like 3 years ago with Deshaun and that win. That was like the most boring game of football.
It's gonna be. I'm telling you, I don't want it to be like this, but I feel like in my heart that if you like touchdowns, you ain't gonna like this game.
Okay.
I don't feel like it's gonna be a touchdown type of game. I feel like it's gonna be a defensive lockdown. Whoever makes the most mistakes, you're losing. So no pick sixes for us, please. The defense needs to turn the ball over. Score points for us, please, defense, and it'll be all right.
Mr. Briggs.
29-27 Texans.
29-27 Texans. I'm going to go with 20-13 Texans. Like I said, we're not going to score that many points. This defense is really good. Let me ask you guys one more question. Okay, I doubt Nico Collins have 195 yards on Denzel Ward. So who else you guys think could step up to take some pressure off him?
Well, he might not be in the game. He's
wait, who was that? Who?
Denzel Ward. He's missed.
He's not playing.
Well, you missed both days of practice, so I mean that could be a tactic.
He's going to play.
We'll see with that much. Like with John Grenard. Listen to me, John Grenard. I might clip this, so listen to me. Please, if you can walk to that car, if you can walk to the stadium, if you can walk to your house, if you can walk on Saturday, please put some pads on to go out there and play. Please.
Walk to the quarterback.
Okay? Please, we need you to get to that quarterback, man. So come on, Jonathan Grenard, let's go.
I also think I think there's a real good chance that the Flacco that was with the Jets last year shows up. Like, I totally get it. I understand. Like, let's be honest. We are a year removed from that man being on the Jets with Zach Wilson as the starting quarterback, and this dude did not play as much. I get it. He's played well. Everybody eventually comes back down to earth. And I can't see this run continuing. Now, if they beat us, the best thing that can happen, if I'm being honest, is that the Browns win the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. So that way, whenever Matt comes back, it don't even matter what you do because it already happened while you were hurt. But I will say, like, the Grenard stuff, I mean, that's a big piece, man. Like the Grenard piece. But Denzel Ward's probably going to play. I would say Dalton Schultz is, and we saw it towards the end of the game in the Colts game, and I think we'll see it more. Dalton Schultz is the answer. It needs to be a heavy dose of Dalton mixed in with a heavy dose of Nico, mixed in with a nice combination of Devin, and just hope that you can grind out a win because that's the kind of game this is going to be. It's a grind out a win type of game, and they have the weapons to do it. The question is, will they?
Okay, so
I like that.
How many targets you think Nico need this game? He had 9 last game for 195. How many think he'll need?
He had
this
9
game?
targets or 9 catches.
He had 9 targets and 9 catches. 9 for 9.
He was 9 for 9. Yeah, I mean, I would say, man, I don't know. I'm going to go off a beaten path here, but like they know Nico is the weapon.
Yes,
they know it, and they're going to do everything they can to take him away. right?
Bracket them. Yep.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. And so it might be a lot of underneath stuff. It might be a lot of dinking and dunking all the way down.
Put the camera back on me. Put the camera back on me. I got so much about to say. John Mechie. All right, listen to me, man.
Poor Metch.
Amazing story. You look healthy out there, man. Amazing. I'm so happy for you. This is your game too. All right. If they are bracketing Nico, this is your game, man. Underneath, slants, digs, comebacks. This is for you, man. We need you too, bro. Come on, John. Let's get it. Get you a touchdown in the playoffs, baby. I believe in you. Let's go.
Well, it'll be perfect for him to get his first touchdown in the playoffs.
Amazing. It would be an amazing story.
Here's the thing. I like Mechie, and I think that we, as a fan base, are applying too much pressure to this man, to be honest with you. And I would appreciate if we could actually delete that clip.
I'll delete it. Okay.
Because here's the thing. Like, this dude beat cancer in the offseason.
Yes. It's a
we're talking about 7 months ago, this man beat cancer.
Yes.
And he hasn't played football. Like, let's let his body get right this year. Let's not quit on him. Let's not say it's done and over. I'm not saying you did,
but see, that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. When everything happened, they say he's clear to play. I said, I don't know. I told myself in the summer, I said, I don't know. Give him one more year to relax and chill and get his body back together. But they said he was ready. So
I think he's ready to get in shape.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But I feel like he can help. He's running routes out there. He can help, man. I believe he can help us win this game.
The thing I want to see is, like, and we didn't see none of it, the Colts game, is Brevin Jordan. Like, I want to see some of those tight end screens to Jordan, especially in the red zone. Like, we can't be kicking no field goals in the red zone. We got to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
So,
well, it'd be fun for him to get his first touchdown, John, because if we could do it for Nick Saban, roll tide, as my boy Frank just said. So on that note, before we end, Mr. James, tell the folks where they can find you. Tell us what you got cooking. Plug your shit right now.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been building a golf brand. Super excited to do this. This is a big step for me. Is I've spent my time in the corporate world, and I've done my duties to be able to provide for my family over the last 20 years. And I had kids at an early age, had them at 20, and I have 3 now. And I always did what I was supposed to do, and now I have the opportunity to be able to do something I want to do and really tap into that entrepreneurial spirit that has always kind of been here, and I've always tapped into it in a little bit, but now I'm really jumping in and building a golf brand called Inland Grove. So super stoked. We're doing friends and family release. I've been building it for the last 7-8 months. It's taken a lot of time, doing that, working a full-time job and everything else that I do. And really excited to be able to do this, and I love golf, and I love the story of the brand and what we're telling. And, I can't wait to do it. So yeah, you guys can go to inlandgrove.com. Don't judge me on the photos yet. Our first photo shoot is February 2nd. So those photos are all iPhone photos at this time, but sign up for the email list. It would be much appreciated. If you have a friend that golfs, you have an uncle that golfs, you have a dog that golfs, tell them all. And if you guys could just share, that's all I need. I just need somebody to share. I don't need everybody's money. I just need people to make more people aware of it. Give me an opportunity to really wow them. I'm really working on some really high quality shit. And I'm not going to put out anything that's bad. I'm really putting everything I can. So, if you guys go to inlandgrove.com, that'd be dope. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Inland Grove. And then, you can follow me on Twitter at YoungAri_Gold. It's been a pleasure to be on with you guys again. I'm glad that we got back to a point where we were able to actually have this conversation. Again, forgive me for, the subs that were sent. They weren't sent in y'all's direction, and I'm glad that we can be better now and see that that's not the case. But glad I was able to come on and talk football with you guys. Yeah.
All right, appreciate you, James. One more thing before I go to Bo. When is Kanye going to drop this album with Ty Dolla $ign?
Oh, man, I need it, bro. I need it so bad, bro.
He got to clear all them samples.
I can't. I got Backstreet Boys samples holding them up for sure.
Yeah.
But I also think like he's Kanye, man. Like Donda wasn't supposed to come out. Universal just released it. So like, you know, he's gonna put it out when he thinks it's perfect. And honestly, as a Kanye fan, like I want to hear it the way Kanye intended for us to hear it. I don't want to hear it any other way. And if that means we got to wait a couple months for it to be perfected, every time that we've waited, we've gotten exactly what we need. Right? We got the best album in rap history right behind me. Like, it's undeniable. So hopefully we can get something like that, and you know, we can at least appreciate the artist without appreciating the person, and just keep it pushing.
So for the folks that can't see, let us know what's the best rap album you was talking about from Kanye
Of all time. The great
all time.
It might be the
all
greatest
time
album in music in general is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. From beginning to end, from musical perspective, lyrical perspective, hooks, choruses, verses, bars, the instrumentation, the live instrumentation, everything about this album is absolutely flawless. I actually am working on one of the drops for the golf brand I'm working on, and it'll probably be a November drop. It's called My Beautiful Dark Twisted Swing. And I'm actually taking, because every golfer has their own swing, and they're not all the same. And some of that shit's super ugly, but it works. It's kind of like how Sean Marion used to shoot the free throws. Remember? Remember that? Yeah. But it worked. It worked for Sean.
It did. It went in.
It's the same thing with golf. And so I'm going to take like the colors of the album, and I'm going to use that as a drop. And then I'm actually going to replace that, the ballerina with a bear, and have her hold the golf club. But anyways, it's the greatest album ever made. The only thing I could potentially touch it is one of maybe two Prince albums, but outside of that, this is just a flawless album.
Okay, well, I'm gonna piggyback off what you said. Seems like you having one hell of a life. A song off that album.
Ooh, that's a nice play. That's a nice play. So, hey, I'm hoping that you know, I can see all of the lights later too.
Hey.
Hey, you got the power right now. All right, Bo, tell us where they can find you at, man.
Yo, y'all know. Y'all can find me at Bo Diggity 713 at all socials. Y'all know the deal, man.
Briggs, talk to me, man.
James, man, thanks for coming on. No, there's absolutely no ill blood, bro. You're always a family, always allowed to come on here, man. Yeah, you can find me at A1 Day One Texans, and of course, check your stuff out at Inland Grove. Do them a favor, man. Check your stuff out.
Already, you can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere. And appreciate
Credential Crenshaw.
Appreciate y'all listening to the pod and everything. And like James said, you know, sign up for the email. I checked it out you know, earlier before he was coming on. Those pictures don't look bad, bro. The pictures don't look bad. I like the picture. iPhone does have great quality and everything, but you know, check them out. Get you some apparel and everything. And on that note, Matt hit the bumper.
They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows. We get selected.